guys, Portal Master 9351 here, and welcome back to another exciting edition of Skylanders Showdown. I want to thank you guys so much for the support that you guys gave me in the last episode of this, and I am looking forward to continuing this series and this season as that original episode. So, you guys voted at the end of the last episode who you thought should win between Blast Zone and Magna Charge, and at the very end of this episode, we are going to be finding out who won that match. But first up, I want you guys to take a look at this week's episode, or today's episode, basically, which is going to be between Washbuckler and Night Shift. So, without further ado, let's get to it.
The first character we're going to be talking about today is, of course, Washbuckler. Now, for those of you who don't know, he is, of course, a Swap Force character, member of the Water Element and of the Climbing Movement type. He's a very versatile character, we're going to get into that right now. His first ability, Sword Slash, is pretty self-explanatory. He takes his sword and he slashes it, deals damage to whatever's in front of him, and it's pretty much going to be his main source of damage. His secondary ability is called Somersaulty, and this can be a mobility or offensive-based move. It can move him very quickly, get him into battle, get him out of battle, whichever you need. His third ability, Bubble Blaster, pretty self-explanatory once again. He takes his little gun and he shoots bubbles out of it, and he can actually trap enemies in the bubbles by using it. And it also does not actually slow him down when he uses this, so it's a very mobility-based attack. Alright, and now we are going to get into some of Washbuckler's important upgrades. His first important upgrade is Blade Sail. This is just going to increase his sword damage and allow him to do dash attacks. Another important one is going to be Parlay Popper, and it's basically going to make it where popping bubbles gives you bubble shields. The next important one is First Make Cutlass, and that just once again increases his damage output with his sword. And his Soul Gem for his top half is going to allow him to further charge up his Blade Sail ability and actually summon a gigantic pirate ship that will slam into enemies and deal even more damage than previously. Washbuckler also has a variety of important lower half abilities. His first one is going to be Deep Skin, which is just going to give him a larger health pool and make him a tougher character all around. Another one is going to be Ink Jet, and that's going to allow him to basically shoot out ink from his tentacles. Tentacleaver, another important ability, is going to further empower the tentacle slapping. Alright, and now let's move on to our second character, Night Shift. Night Shift is also a Swap Force character, but he is of the Undead element and is of the Teleportation move type. So his first ability is called 1-2 Punch, and this allows him to shoot out gigantic boxing gloves from himself and deal damage at a distance, although it is still technically a melee ability. His next ability is called Ethereal Shift, and it allows him to turn into mist and dash forward. And this is his mobility-based ability, and it lets him teleport around and deal damage at the same time. His next ability is Vampire's Bite, and it's rather unique, as it's one of the few abilities that actually allows you to regain health. He just jumps forward with these gigantic jaws, latches onto something, and steals a little bit of their health each time. Now for some of his noteworthy upgrades. So first up is going to be his Don't Move, Just Stick ability, which is going to allow him to charge an uppercut, and it's going to allow him to deal just more damage. Another important one is his top soul gem, and that is Gentlemanly. So when he's at full health, enemies will take more damage from his attacks. So it's actually a very, very good empowerment ability if you can keep yourself at full health while fighting. For his bottom half, we have Float Like a Vampire. This is going to allow him to shoot out projectiles when he teleports, making it far more powerful. Also, Foggy Movement, which is going to make him faster overall and much more mobile. Also important is a Baddie Coach. This will actually give him multiple lives, and so when he dies, he will be revived and will do like this move, as you can see right here. Later on, this can be upgraded to allow him to use it multiple times, which is going to make him far, far more powerful.
So now you've seen the upgrades, you've seen sort of what each one of them brings to the table, and now it's up to you guys to decide. But before I let you guys get to the voting, I do want to say a couple of things about each one. Both of them are decently mobile. I would say that Night Shift is without a doubt the more mobile of the two of them. Although Washbuckler does have that ability where he can basically use his tentacles to move around the battlefield, that is nowhere near as effective as Night Shift's teleportation abilities. Coupled with the fact that Night Shifts have a projectile that goes with them, whereas Washbuckler actually has to hit somebody with his directly, which puts him in harm's way. So I would say Night Shift for sure wins on the mobility. Now, here's the thing, though. Washbuckler has that bubble gun, and that bubble gun allows him to move around and strafe while still shooting. So that's going to allow him to actually deal some damage, hit Night Shift a little bit while he's still moving. But here's the thing. Night Shift in hand-to-hand combat is most likely going to win against Washbuckler because his fists can fly forward at such a great distance that Washbuckler can't really get in there to deal any damage without taking any damage, whereas Night Shift can kind of teleport, bam, teleport, bam, teleport, bam. And also, it's worth noting that Night Shift is going to have multiple lives, although that does come with a decreased health pool, so it is a little bit more even. Although I think with 3 sets of lives, Night Shift is going to have the slightly higher health pool in this instance. So, I've made my cases for both of these characters. Now, like I said, I want to see what you guys have to say. So, for sure, tell me down in the comments, between those two, Night Shift and Washbuckler, who do you think would win? But that's enough of me talking. Let's get to the part that you guys all came for, the banishment of the loser of last episode. And it looks like Magna Charge came out as the winner by a total of 3 votes. And I thought that this was a pretty fitting way to go, considering that he just got beaten by Magna Charge.